Morning. We are here. I don't know. This is a rough weekend for me. I didn't realize I was going to be so sensitive to the eclipse, and the eclipse was Saturday, I believe. It was a new moon / solar eclipse, and I don't know, like my energy plummeted. I felt like I was flatlining. So I'm trying to get my energy back. I actually taught yesterday, and I went on a hike yesterday thinking nature would bring it back, and it just didn't. So I'm going to try to keep up with what I've got planned for today. So last week I did a yoga retreat out in Utah, and I had planned it like a year ago. It was a place that I had wanted to return to in my 40s. And here I am 48, so I knew time was ticking if I wanted to keep that promise to myself. So I decided to create a retreat out there in St. George, Utah, near Zion National Park, Bryce National Park, Coral Sand Dunes, beautiful things to see. And I wanted it to start on Earth Day. And right before I left on that retreat, we had been talking about that whole week, letting go of expectations and letting go with the idea that so often we're in control. And literally that kept showing up in my personal life day in and day out that entire week. And basically everything got delayed. I didn't show up till around midnight, and everything had to keep getting rolled over to the next day. And it was just one of those times where you just have to adapt and have to be flexible. You have to go with flow, like you're forced to. But anyway, on Earth Day, I wanted to focus on the medicine wheel. And I wanted to focus on it being barefoot in the soil and doing the earthing. And of course, that got rolled over to the next day. Well, the next day was Saturday, which I wanted it to be all about Saturn Day, because Saturday was named after the Roman god Saturn. And I wanted to talk about the planetary energy of Saturn. And then I did the same thing on Sunday and Monday. Sunday going back to being named after the sun, and Monday being named after the moon. So since we just had the eclipse this weekend, I thought I could review a little bit of that, since we did have the eclipse over the weekend. So we're going to do a little bit of a blend between a moon salutation and a sun salutation to express this energy that we've been inundated with. But I want you to know that if you look back at the history of yoga, it was passed down orally, teacher to student. It was all about the way of living. It was a moral, ethical code to live by, and it was really more about meditation and getting your mind balanced and not so unruly. Eventually, the postures came about. So if you look back at the history of, like, say, the sun salutation, some say, was during Vedic times when they worshipped the sun god, which was called Surya. And Surya used to be just as revered as Vishnu or Shiva, not as much so today, but they knew that everything revolved around the sun. They knew that we received this heat, energy, and light source from the sun. And therefore, they woke up every morning, they faced east, they faced where the sun was rising, and they did these sun salutations. Namaskara means to bow, to adore, to admire. So it was admiring this essence that was giving us so much. If you continue to look at the history of yoga, some say, yeah, well, it started in Vedic times, but it also changed, and it was more about lengthening and strengthening your muscles. It was about creating this purification of mind and body. It was opening up these energetic pathways so you could feel good throughout your day, throughout your days and weeks. So regardless of that, we're going to be adding in the sun salutation. And I've told you the moon salutation began in actually the 1980s here in the United States at a place called Kripalu. A group of women got together and decided they would create a moon salutation, which is cooler and in the experience, say, than the sun salutation, because the sun salutation, all the movement stems from the core of the body. And the yogis say this is the indwelling place of the sun. They say the moon is like the brain, the indwelling place of the moon here. So regardless of what you're honoring, the sun Sal or the moon Sal, the sun or the moon internally, it's all about illumination. How can we become more illuminated within? How can we light up our awareness? How can we light up our state of consciousness? Just what this practice is for. So let's begin in child's pose. So I would like us to start in the more traditional form with the arms wrapped around the outer legs, palms open at the feet, and resting on the third eye. So the third eye point is like the midsection of the brow, and there is a marma or acupressure point here that helps to develop some inner peace. Now that you've kind of cocooned yourself into the shape, I want you to check in with your body to see what are you bringing to the mat with you today. Are there any areas speaking up or speaking out? And it may be too early to tell, but also check your mental state. Is it high? Is it low? Is it scattered? Is it clear? And check in with the level of energy that you've had since you awoke. Maybe it's increased. Maybe it's decreased. But be aware of what you're working with. And then start to immerse yourself with breath. Becoming an active participant with your breath. Looking at every inhalation as an invitation to go within, into the depths of your being. Looking at every exhalation as a way to center or settle within. And then we're going to start a warm up. So as you inhale, you're going to pressurize your shins. You're going to take your arms to your sides, reach them up towards the sky in standing Vajrasana, maybe into diamond, if that's okay for your neck and shoulders. And as you exhale, sweep the arms behind your back, clasp a hold of your right wrist, lower over your lap, and turn to your right temple. Inhale, we're going to come up. Standing Vajrasanas like this, or diamond pose like this, yogi's choice. Exhale, hands sweep back behind you, grab your left wrist, lower down to your left temple. And we're going to continue this back and forth. Inhale, you're coming up. Exhale, you're rocking down. Alternating the face turn. And which hand you're holding. Feel free to activate the Ujjayi Pranayama so that you have a sound to dance to. Let your breath be the music. Let your body be the expression. We're going to do one more to each side. Last one. Now we are going to come up to standing Vajrasana. Arms framing the face, chin parallel to the earth. And this is where you may potentially need a block set between your ankles. Otherwise, attempt to bring your hands together to slowly lean back and sit towards your heels, hands lowered to the heart center. Again, if this is difficult, grab a block to sit on. Inhale, you're expanding up. And as you exhale, you're leaning back, slow motion to sit towards your heels. It may seem simple and effortless right now, but I guarantee you, you're probably going to be sore tomorrow. It's one of those things that kind of sneak up on you. 2 more. Now I mentioned Surya was the sun god, Chandra was the moon god. And each one of those were often depicted in a chariot led by 7 to 10 white horses. Inhale coming up. So as you exhale, twist to your right. This is a pose I'll often bring up in stories that involve a charioteer. So you're leaning back with your hips and thighs. Lean it back. Inhale, drive it forward. Good. Exhale, lean back. Inhale, drive forward. 3 more. We're doing 5 sets. My quads are already sore from yesterday. And then inhale, let your arms frame your face. Good. Exhale, spin to your left. Lean back on the exhale. Inhale, pull forward on the inhale. Last one. Inhale, the arms up again. Exhale, bring the hands down to the seeking mat. Allow the shoulders to stack over, curl your toes under, lift your knees off the floor, and create your downward facing dog. Pressing down into the palms of the hands, igniting more muscles through your arms. Pushing down through the feet so your sits bones lift, lift, lift up and away. Breathe into the backside of your lungs. And on your next inhalation, we're gonna walk the feet forward towards the top of the mat. Coming halfway up when you do so. And then exhale, let go. Let your arms hang free. Let your neck release. And sometimes I give this instruction if you're a constant person that says no a lot, maybe nodding yes. If you're a yes person and need to learn to say no more, nod your head no. Warming up the backside of the legs. And space to the kidneys in the low back. And on your next inhalation, you're going to push down and root to the soles of the feet. The arms are going to circle wide and up overhead. You're going to lace your fingers together. Create this temple mudra, shoulders lifting up towards the ears, and exhale, curving to the right. Anchor both feet, but your left foot especially. Breathe into your left side body, open up those side ribs. Let the light in, but also remember, this is about self-illumination as well. Now on your next inhale, come up, you're gonna step to your left, facing Jen's direction, and your feet are gonna fan away from your center line. Your thighs are gonna roll open. Your arms are up in Kali Goddess pose. And then you're gonna hinge forward from your hips, rest on the fingertips, and you can either be flat on your feet, or you have the option to elevate your heels. Either way. Breathe. Keep your knees wide apart instead of letting them collapse in. Let the weight be more in your feet than your hands. And now gently lower the heels back to the floor. Pick up your arms, twirl to the right, right arm behind your back, left hand crosses to the right knee. Lengthen through the vertebrae, tailbone pushes back, crown of the head is reaching forward. And then swap sides, twirl to the other. Right hand catches the left knee, left arm swirls behind the back. Lengthen out through the spine. Have the torso more or less parallel to the ground. Good, release your hands back to the center. Bring the arms up, Kaligata. Slowly turn your heels back behind your toes, straighten out through your arms. Rotate your right foot towards the front of the room. Lengthen out over that side. Windmill down to triangle. Long legs, long spine, long arms. The more you push down to the feet, you're going to have both the strengthening and the lengthening occurring. Take that left arm across the ear, and then slowly circle that hand down towards the right foot. Back it up towards the left hip. Then clockwork it all the way back up towards the heavens. And doing that again. Power of 3. Opening up range of motion in the shoulder. Last one. Let that mimic how the planets orbit around the sun. Now look down towards the right foot. You're going to spin out, land your left hand, turn to the outer edges of the feet, sweep the right arm skyward into Soma lunge. If that's too challenging to turn your back foot, you can stay on the ball of the back foot. If it's comfortable to roll to the outer edge, do that, but apply pressure through it so your hip doesn't drag. Good, exhale, bring your right hand down, turn and flatten the front foot, step it back to plank. Exhale, tip forward, lower down to chaturanga. Inhale, rise to upward facing dog. Exhale, cast the hips back, downward facing dog. Breathe here. Solidify your foundation. Work up from there. Inhale, we're coming forward to plank again. Exhale, we're going to build some strength. Lower to chaturanga. Inhale, push right back up plank. Exhale, downward facing dog. Pull in through the belly. Pull in through your low ribs. And then the third one, I'm going to let you choose. Do you want the flexibility factor or do you need the strength factor of that second vinyasa? Inhale, come forward, plank. Exhale to chaturanga. Inhale to up dog or return to plank. And exhale, down dog. All right, we're going to start changing this up. Right foot's going to step to the front of the mat. Back heel's going to lower down. And we're coming up to warrior one. Front knee lunging. Back thigh straightening. Pinkies rolling in. Hips teeing off. Looking straight ahead with your eyes. Being mindful of your breath. From Virabhadrasana 1, reach up through the side body, palms together, gaze up. Exalting the warrior. Exhale, the hands are going to fan out and flatten down. Spin off the back heel, right foot plank. Take the vinyasa, strength or stretch in the mix. Your choice. Returning to downward facing dog.
From the conclusion of that vinyasa, which shows up in the sun salutes, we're going to re-enter the moon salute. So bring the feet to the top of the mat, folding down so the crown of the head is facing the floor. Remember, the crown is the indwelling place of the moon. That soma lung we just did, soma means the nectar of the moon. Affirming here, nothing and no one on this earth can hold me down or back, including my own self. Inhale, come back to the top. Hands are going to relace. Shoulders firm up towards the ears. Exhale, lean left. Deep breaths in and out through the nose. Inhale, we come back up. We step to the right this time. Same approach, Kali Goddess. Widening your thighs, your knees, your feet. Belly engaged, that Uddiyana Bandha, working also with the diaphragm of the pelvic floor with Mula Bandha. And then bring yourself down, hands to touch the floor, very light, effortless touch. Maybe elevating the heels if you want to strengthen your calves. The breath continue to flow in and out. When you're ready, drop down through the heels, come back up to Kali Goddess. So the ancient yogis used to say that we embody the same things that we see in the earth and universe. The rivers, the plains, the mountains, the fields, the planets, including the sun and the moon. And in the story of Kali, she's on this like killing spree, and her husband comes to calm her down. She takes a big breath, expels her tongue, and inside her mouth, you can see the entire universe. So we're going to do that breath. Deep breath in, expel the tongue. 2 more. One more. Good. Turn your heels back. Straighten your arms out. Turn your left foot 90 degrees. And then strike triangle pose. Any variation of your liking. Elongating the legs, elongating the arms, elongating the spine. Revolving open through the belly and the chest. And then take the top arm over the ear. Circle it down towards the left foot. Rotate it back past the hip, up towards the sky. Do 2 more, just like that. And on your exhalation, lunge the left knee, plant the right hand, swirl on the feet for the soma lunge. Exhale, spin back, frame that front foot, left foot plank, and then exhale, Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale to upward facing dog. Exhale to downward facing dog. So upward facing dog is more about flexibility of spine, less about strength. So Bhujangasana, the cobra, is more about the strength of the back. Inhale, come forward plank. Exhale to Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale, if you want the strength, push up plank or take cobra in lieu of up dog. Eventually taking it to downward facing dog. One more vinyasa in the mix. Yogi's choice on which poses you want to practice. Meeting in downward facing dog with just a few inches in between the big toes. So narrow that space. Good, inhale, left foot steps to the front, back heel lowers, coming up, warrior one. So from Virabhadrasana 1, feel the stretch in your back calf. Grow taller through your side waist. Create space in between each vertebra. And then maybe exalt the warrior. Hands together, throat open. Affirming mentally within, I attune myself to the will of higher power. Exhale, hands down. Step back, last vinyasa. For this flow anyway. Notice again those movements stemming from the solar plexus, the core of the body. Holding your mind here. Even the body can cool down here. On your next in-breath, feet plant at the top of the mat. Lower down and into your Uttanasana. Moving back into the moon sow, arms sweep up. Hands lace. Curve to the right. We're going to be changing up our positions here. Inhale, lift, step to your left, facing Jen's direction again, Kali Goddess. But this time we're lowering the left forearm to the knee, and the right arm is going to soar up and over the side of the face. When you're ready, rainbow it up through center and over to the right side. Right arm cross, left arm overhead. Good, when you're ready, circle back to center, release your hands down, turn your heels back behind your toes like we did earlier standing, but this time we're gonna hinge down, Prasarita Padottanasana. Now there's many different formations you can do with your arms. You can find the one that suits you. Your arms can shoot back through the legs, palms flat. They can reach in front of you, similar to down dog with palms flat. The hands can be in line with the inner arches of the feet, elbows squeezing in to create a shelf. You can also have the hands to the hips, hands interlaced behind the back. So choose the one you fancy. On the second side of this flow, you'll have a chance to lift into your headstand if you prefer. Here, we're just preparing. All right, walk your hands out in front of you, lengthen out through the spine. Turn your left toes towards that back corner of your mat, and then lunge that knee, Skandasana. And then walk your hands over, turn your right toes towards the corner of the mat. Side lunge here, Skandasana. There's different variations here. My energy is still pretty low, so I'm using my hands today. If you have more energy to play with, you can lift your hands up. You can also swirl the feet and do a half squat instead. Either way, just kind of surfing back and forth between the two sides. And when you come back to the right, you're going to turn that right foot flat in your hands. The right foot planks. Exhale, Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, rock and roll back. And then we've been doing 3 vinyasas. So pick. You want strength or stretch. Coming through to plank. Lowering down like a low push-up. Pushing back up plank or taking one of those back bends. Flow with your breath, one more round. And once we all arrive in downward facing dog, we're going to come back to our warrior poses. On your inhale, you're going to lift your right leg halfway up, just halfway. So the sacrum stays even. Push into your palms more. Lift out of your shoulders more and reach up through that right heel. Now swing that foot through between the hands, turn and plant your back foot. You're going to float your hands at this time. Find the stability through your lower body. Once you're stable, arms circle up, palms together overhead, elbows bend and widen. And this is about a thoracic back bend. So think about the area behind your heart. You're pulling the shoulder blades in towards the spine and giving a little chest bump up and out. You got it. Yep, chest bump up. The head can slightly lean back. Breathe into the heart. All right, circle the hands behind your back. Lace them up together. Shoulders roll back to open the door of the heart. When you're ready, humble the warrior. Drop the head to the inside of the right knee. Squeeze the right hip in and under. Head up, hands down. Right foot to plank. You know what to do. 3 vinyasas. Your way. Or take child's pose. Because if you feel like you're struggling here, you're not alone. My energy's low today again. I'm skipping the third one, but if you want the third one, go for it. And then we'll inhale, lift the left leg halfway. Push into your palms, lift out of your shoulders. Even up the hips. And then swing that foot through, plant your back foot. Hands float up, front knee stays bent. Bringing the spine over the pelvis, arms circle overhead, Anjali Mudra over the crown, chest bump, head slightly back. So in other words, we're not trying to really get into the low back, we're moving into the mid back. Now, hands behind your back. Relace, reopen the chest, exhale, humble the warrior. So when the sacred scriptures say, those who are exalted shall be humbled, those who are humbled shall be exalted. Inhale, head up, exhale, hands down. Last vinyasa. Inhale, feet return to the top of the mat. Go ahead and drape down. Drinking from that soma nectar at the crown. I always like to think of that nectar as being like sweet honey. Inhale, arms reach up. Lace at the top. Curve to the left. Coming back into the moon south. Inhale, up and exhale to the right. Taking that Kali Goddess. Now this time, when we rest the left elbow on the knee, just take that right arm and let it hang free. You got it. We're going to twist open. So as you inhale, sweep it out of that. And as you exhale, carry it back down where you began. A couple more. Simple functional movement. Exhale, release. Now bring the right elbow to prop. Left arm hangs free. Inhale, sail it out and up. Exhale, release it down. Twice more. This time, bring the hands down through center. Elevate your heels. That elevation of heels comes into play if you want to move into your headstand eventually. Now turn the heels back, lower the crown down, and take Prasarita Padottanasana. So at this juncture, if you can lower the head to the floor, back up your hands so that you can see the fingertips. You could either stack one knee at a time on the shelf of the arms, taking their Shastasana prep, or you can start to lift your heels. Slowly send the legs up together to Shastasana 2. Whenever you feel the need to exit, scissor the legs, dip the balls of the feet back down to your heels, and then we'll lift the head up and walk the arms forward and out. Good, from here, turn your right toes to the back of the mat, lunge the knees, Skandasana here. And this is a little playtime, so you can change it up if you wish. Surf it over to the left. Call this crouching tiger. And you just move slowly from side to side. Good, next time you come to the left, you're gonna spin around, step the back foot forward, lower the head and the heart. And we're gonna complete this blend of both Sarya and Chandra Namaskara. Sweeping the arms to the sides, up overhead. Exhale, bring the hands to the salutation seal. So the seal is Anjali Mudra at the heart. Close the eyes. Picture in your mind's eye that you're looking off to the horizon, maybe watching a sunrise or a sunset, a moonrise or a moonset. Affirming internally, salutations to the sun, to the moon, to the awakening life within, to the dawning of a much higher state of consciousness in all beings. This is where we may need a block. So if you have one, bring it with you. We're going to come to the floor. Now there's a way to get into this from down dog, but I felt like we did it enough down dogs today. Left leg is out. The right knee is bent. Thighs more or less parallel. And this is where a block can come in useful, because if you sit on the block, it's going to take a little bit of that flexion and weight out of that knee. A little less weight in the front of the foot, especially if you have a bunion. That's what my problem is. Or if you just have really uneven ground and you feel like you're flopping to one side. Okay, the first thing we're gonna do, find, you have your strap in hands for this as well. Take your strap around the ball of the foot. Lift up your chest. And then with the straight back, fold forward. And you may not even need that strap. but start with it. Working with the strap will maintain that proper flexion through the ankle. And I want us to also stretch out the quads because we did that stinky quad work earlier. It probably didn't feel like much at the time, but I feel it every time I do that the day after. First thing this morning, I got out of bed, I'm like, there's the quads. So we're gonna come up out of that position and then move back so that we can stretch this out. With that being said, see if you can remove the block now and either lean back into your palms. You can drop onto forearms and you may be at liberty to fan out and drop down to the shoulder blades. Don't push it. Test the waters. See what works for your body. And even if it does work temporarily, if you feel like you need to exit somewhere along the way, you can. Like, it's really not my quad stopping me, it's my bunion. It's for years of wearing high heels. Try to relax as much as you can in this pose to reap the most reward. And then to come out, it's not as graceful. You kind of have to lean your weight to one side and then prop onto the other side and just kind of work your way back up. Good. All right, relieve that right foot. Test the waters with the left ankle coming alongside the hip. And one side, like, I don't feel as lopsided on this side that I did before, and my bunion's not as bad on this side. So I don't feel like I need the block for the first one, but definitely use it if you need it. Take the strap, lift your heart, and start to fold down. Breathe. This is not an easy mechanic at all. You guys are doing it beautifully, but if you ever come in one day and your just body will not do this, you could do Janu Shirshasana instead, just to change it up. I personally feel like quads are easy to strengthen, but I find it difficult to find poses to really stretch them out. And so this is one of those poses. We'll come up and then we'll start to back off with our hands. And already, hopefully you can feel it. You can drop lower if that's available. By the way, sometimes I'll get asked the question, is it okay if the knee comes off the floor? As long as it's not painful to your body, it's okay to lift. If you were to hold it for a longer period, I would suggest patting a blanket up underneath for some support. But since we're not holding it terribly long, just try to relax as much as you can and breathe. Breathe into the top of that left thigh. Breathe down into the left knee. Breathe into the front side of your hips, down deep into your belly, and up into your heart. So a lot of the women that I traveled with were sore from the day on the sand dunes. That soft sand, you really had to work your muscles to climb uphill.
Gently rock your weight from side to side. And just know if you ever do any activity like that, sometimes doing the strength building along with the stretch is just as productive as just doing the stretch. All right, we'll release that left foot and we're gonna contract the core, roll to the floor, but have your strap. So scoop the belly in, arms reach out in front of you, and you're gonna slowly control your movement so that you're just cautiously rolling back to the floor. All right, so have that strap. We're gonna bring the right knee in. We're cooling down now. Take the strap over the right ball of the foot and sail it skyward. Now just want to stretch the IT band initially. So take both ends of the strap into your left hand and then just allow the leg to cross over your midline. You're still stationed on your low back. The leg's just angled over the body. Now press the foot into the strap. And now continue to lower the leg so that you're rolling towards the left hip and then reach your right arm out to the side. So you're coming into a spinal twist. Inhale, roll back to center, lift that leg up. Exhale, bend the knee. Lower the foot, slide it out. Bring your left knee towards you. Strap wraps around the sole of the foot, sail it in the air. Take both ends of the strap into your right hand and then rock the foot over to the right. Keep your low back station down initially. Isolate the IT band. See what feels best, the foot being just relaxed and held, or if the foot is pushing into the fabric. There's a definite difference. Do you want it active or passive? Send your left arm to the side. Begin to roll into your twist. Affirming here, I'm opening myself up to the flow of new life force energy within. Energy we're receiving from the sun. The energy that we're receiving from the air that we breathe. Energy that we receive from the food that we digest. Inhale, gently unroll from the twist. Bend the knee, remove the strap, set it to the side, hug both knees in. Now, if you feel like you're lacking a pose that you really want to sneak in, Maybe it's a bridge pose, maybe it's shoulder stands. Maybe it's another supine twist. I'm gonna give you the opportunity to incorporate it. Or you can prepare for your Shavasana. You know how we always use blocks as a heart opening pose? I did one while I was away, a little differently than I've done it in the past. Felt really good if you want to try it. Normally I instruct it like this. But while I was away, I did it flat like this. With that first one, same place in between the shoulder blades. And the second one underneath the head. You may hate this, but I actually thought it felt really nice. So the place where we were staying, it was called Red Mountain Resort Spa, and it had all kinds of activities there on site, including other type of like exercise classes and yoga classes. And I did this one in a yin class. So that first block would go in between your shoulder blades or right underneath your ribs. The other block under your head if you want to try it. So I didn't mention too much about an eclipse, but usually an eclipse energy is like a portal. There's usually some sort of pivot that happens in that portal with directions or decisions. It can be endings or beginnings. This one, since it was lined up with the new moon, is more about initiating beginnings. But it could also just be a moment where something's becoming more illuminated within your psyche or within your heart. So if you've been paying attention leading up to the eclipse and through the eclipse and even today, are you seeing a theme? Are you noticing something from your state of awareness that's cropping up to the surface to be healed or to be examined? Sometimes it even brings sudden surprises or shakeups. But I saw this beautiful, I guess you would call it a musing of the eclipse. And I wanted to share it with you. It's from a person called Miyadu. Deep within the fertile darkness and awakened by the dream of light, new life can find its form. Here is the place of possibility within the space of transfiguration between the darkness and light. Through desolation and longing, beauty is revealed. It is through these cycles of regeneration that we truly come to know the heart of life, where we can be reawakened. Let this time be a process of your own inner awakening. Stay awake, stay alert to anything that you can examine in your mind and heart. Take 3 more breaths. Sliding your feet in. Or turning your palms down. Turning to one side or lifting straight up away from the blocks, depending on your position. Finding a seat. Spine erect. Bringing your hands back to heard a beautiful concept the other day. Cultural appreciation over cultural appropriation. I'm a big believer in cultural appreciation. So with this gesture, it's not just about grace and gratitude. It's a beautiful gesture that's used as formal greeting in India. It represents my soul, sees and recognizes your soul. We typically end our practices this way. Just holding this in your heart. Conclude our practice together. Namaste. Thank you guys so much for showing up on a Monday morning after the eclipse.